Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to explain the summary of Queen Victoria biography written by Lytton Strachey, which is a part of IGNOU BEGE 141 syllabus. I have written the full summary in a simple way. In this video you will get the 3 most important questions which will be beneficial for your exams. If you watch this till the end, you will be able to write any answer from this chapter easily and score well in your exam. So let's begin. Queen Victoria is a biography written by Lytton Strachey, a famous British writer. This book is about the life and reign of Queen Victoria, who ruled Britain for over 63 years from 1837 to 1901. Strachey wrote this book in 1921 and it became very popular because he didn't just list facts. He added emotions, psychology, and even a little humor. Instead of praising the Queen blindly like many other writers, he showed her as a real human being with the strengths and weakness. Now let's talk about the early life of Queen Victoria. Victoria was born in 1819. Her childhood was not very happy. Her father died when she was a baby, and she lived with her strict mother, the Duchess of Kent, and her advisor Sir John Conroy. They controlled Victoria's life and didn't allow her to meet many people or enjoy freedom. This made Victoria feel lonely and frustrated. How she became the queen? When she turned 18 in 1837, her life changed completely. She became the Queen of England. One of the first people she trusted was her Prime Minister, Lord Melbourne. He was much older than her, but she respected him a lot and learned about politics from him. This early part of her reign was guided by Melbourne's advice. Marriage to Prince Albert. In 1840, Victoria married her cousin Prince Albert of Germany. At first, she loved him deeply and depended on him. Albert was serious, intelligent, and had strong values. He slowly started helping in running the country and influencing the Queen's decision. Over the time, Victoria allowed Albert to take more control, especially in managing government matters. They had 9 children together. Albert's death and her grief. In 1861, Prince Albert died at a young age. This was the biggest shock of Victoria's life. She went into deep sorrow and stayed away from public life for many years. She wore black clothes for the rest of her life and avoided many royal duties. People began to criticize her for staying hidden. Then she returned to public life. Slowly, Victoria returned to public life. One of the people who helped her come back was a Prime Minister, Benjamin Disraeli, who treated her kindly and made her feel special. He even gave her the title Empress of India in 1876. Victoria liked him because he praised her, unlike William Gladstone, another Prime Minister who treated her more formally. Later years and legacy. In her later years, Victoria became more respected again. She became a symbol of the British Empire. Even though she was not very clever or politically sharp, she represented stability. She lived through many changes, scientific inventions, wars, and social movements. She died in 1901 at the age of 81. After serving as a queen for more than 63 years, her rule is known as the Victorian era, a time of great progress and also many social problems. Now let's talk about the Strachey style and message. Lytton Strachey does not glorify Queen Victoria blindly. He writes about her like a real person with both good and bad sides. He praises her dedication, her love for her family, and her honesty, but he also shows that she could be stubborn, emotional, and slow to understand politics. Strachey used a simple and beautiful style. He focused more on the Queen's personal life, emotions, and relationships rather than boring political speeches or facts. This makes the book interesting and easy to connect with. He wanted readers to see that even powerful people have personal struggle and feelings. Now let's talk about the themes in the biography. First one is power and responsibility. Victoria had a lot of responsibility at a young age and had to learn how to rule wisely. Second, marriage and partnership. Her partnership with Prince Albert played a big role in her success and personal development. Third, grief and loneliness. After Albert's death, she lived a lonely life but never forgot her duties. Fourth, women in power. Victoria's life shows how a woman can rule a huge empire despite social challenges. Public image versus private life. The Queen had a very public life, but her private life was full of emotions and pain. In the end, let's talk about the conclusion. Strachey's Queen Victoria is not just about a queen, it's about a woman, a wife, a mother, and a leader. It shows how she changed from a shy girl into a powerful monarch. The book helps us understand history in a human way through simple words and emotional storytelling. Lytton Strachey helps readers feel the life of a queen who ruled an empire but still lived a life full of feelings, love, and loss. Now let's talk about the three most important questions. Number 1. Pen portrait and character sketch of Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria, born on 24th May 1819, was the longest reigning monarch in British history before Queen Elizabeth II. She ascended to the throne in 1837 when she was just 18 years old. Throughout her reign, she became an iconic figure, not only as a symbol of the British Empire, but also as a person who reflected a mixture of strength, emotional depth, and complexity. Lytton Strachey's biography of Queen Victoria sheds light on her character and personality in an insightful way. A strong-willed and emotional monarch. Queen Victoria was a woman of deep emotions, and Strachey portrays her as someone who, while ruling with authority, was also very human. She was devoted to her country and her role as a monarch, but was often driven by her personal feeling. Her early life was marked by the control by her mother and her advisor, Sir John Conroy, which led her to become a very independent and strong-willed monarch once she gained power. Victoria was highly dedicated to her royal duties, but she was also known for being highly emotional and sometimes temperamental. Strachey highlights that Queen Victoria was deeply attached to her family, especially her husband, Prince Albert. Her emotional connection to her family often interfered with her public responsibilities. She also experienced great personal losses, particularly the death of her Prince Albert in 1861. Which left her devastated and led her to the retreat from the public life for many years. In this sense, she was a very human figure, ruled by her emotions even though she wore the crown of an empire. Devotion to duty. Despite her emotional nature, Queen Victoria was known for her sense of duty. She took her responsibilities seriously and was often deeply involved in the political decisions of her time. Strachey suggests that while she was a constitutional monarch, she sometimes exerted influence in a way that went beyond her traditional role. Her reign was marked by the political stability, the growth of the British Empire, and the social changes, all of which were important to her. She saw herself as the mother of the nation, and her personal values and beliefs often shaped her leadership. Her relationship with the prime ministers and advisors was important. Victoria's strong personality meant she often had to struggle with the political pressures of the time. She had a complicated relationship with many of her prime ministers, but her ability to maintain the monarchy's authority in a time when the power of the monarch was waning is a testament to her political acumen. Now let's talk about the second question, Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. How were they different? Prince Albert, born in 1819 in Germany, was Victoria's first cousin, and their marriage was one of the most significant relationships of her life. He was very different from Queen Victoria in many respects, yet their differences complemented each other, making their marriage an enduring one. Albert's calm and intellectual nature. Prince Albert was known for being calm, reserved, and intellectual, which contrasted with Victoria's emotional and passionate nature. While Victoria could sometimes be impulsive, Albert was a man of reason and carefully considered decisions. Strachey described Albert as someone who was highly intelligent, especially in matters related to the arts and science. He was not only interested in British politics, but also deeply involved in the European affairs and had a keen interest in improving the monarchy's image. Albert was known for being an excellent advisor to Victoria, offering her guidance on political matters. He played an active role in the governance of the country, especially in cultural and educational reforms. His intellectual demeanor also meant that he was more interested in systematic and rational approaches to problems, while Victoria was more emotionally driven in her responses. Victoria's emotional nature and Albert's reasoning. One of the most significant differences between them was how they responded to challenges. Queen Victoria was driven by her emotions, and this could let her become upset or overly passionate about the issues. In contrast, Prince Albert approached the situation with logic and calmness. Strachey points out their marriage was built on mutual respect, and Victoria relied heavily on Albert's guidance. However, it was clear that while she adored Albert, she sometimes resented his constant attempts to control the situation and manage her emotion. Even in their marriage, the difference in their personalities were apparent. Victoria sought emotional support while Albert provided intellectual counsel. Their relationship was not without its difficulties, but it was a partnership that allowed Victoria to perform her real duties with more confidence. Number 3. Why did the English aristocracy disapprove of the Prince Albert? While Queen Victoria adored Prince Albert, the English aristocracy did not initially view him with the same admiration. Several reasons explain their disapproval. Albert foreign backgrounds. Prince Albert was a German by birth, and in the 19th century, Britain was still a largely insular society. The British aristocracy was skeptical of foreigners, especially when it came to the matters of the monarchy. The fact that Albert was not of a royal blood in Britain but came from the German duchy of the Saxe-Coburg and Gotha made him an outsider. His foreign background made some aristocrats question whether he would fully understand the British way of life and governance. His role in the royal family. Another reason the aristocracy disliked Albert was his active role in the royal family. Prince Albert was not just a consort but a man with a strong opinion about the politics, culture, and the monarchy. He was deeply involved in advising Queen Victoria on many state matters. Some aristocrats felt that Albert was overstepping his role as consort and trying to exert too much influence over the Queen. They did not appreciate his involvement in the public affairs, and some feared that his influence would overshadow their own power and influence in the royal court. Perceived arrogance. Finally, Prince Albert's intellectual and reserved nature was often seen as cold or even arrogant by the English aristocracy. They were not accustomed to a prince consort who was so intellectually driven and politically active. His quiet confidence and intellectual demeanor did not sit well with many in the royal court, who were used to a more traditional ceremonial approach to reality. Conclusion. In conclusion, Queen Victoria and Prince Albert was very different in their personalities, yet their differences complemented each other. Victoria was emotional and passionate, while Albert was calm, intellectual, and rational. Their marriage was a partnership based on mutual respect, but it also had its challenges. The English aristocracy disapproved of the Prince Albert due to his foreign background, his active involvement in the royal family affairs, and his perceived arrogance. Nonetheless, Queen Victoria and Prince Albert's relationship was an important and defining one for the monarchy during their time. So here we are done. The Queen Victoria summary by the Lytton Strachey. Thanks for watching this video till the end. I hope this video is helpful for you. Har Har Mahadev.